Welcome to the Fun Astrology Podcast, Tuesday, February 7th. All of you Aquarians who are having birthdays this week, I know several of you, happy birthday. We're continuing that Virgo moon from yesterday right on into today. All day today a Virgo moon. No other exact aspects occurring today, but we do have one that I thought would be worth just putting on our radar that will be ahead of us. This happens on February 16th. And if you look in the sign of Aquarius, you see two planets. You see the Sun and Saturn. Today, they are 8 degrees apart. So a lot of people use 10 degrees as a conjunction orb. So it is possible that you could say they are conjoined. But every day, they will be 1 degree closer. Now, the financial astrologers would look at this as a negative aspect. In other words, if a company, for example, incorporated during a time when the Sun was conjoined to Saturn, you might not expect that company to do very well. And you know that plays out. But I sure wouldn't want to talk to all the parents whose children are going to be born over the next dozen days or so. And some of you probably have the Sun and Saturn within 10 degrees of each other. This is the difference between dealing with mundane astrology and personal astrology. Number one, mundane is the financial astrology, and we're going to set that aside and focus on the personal astrology because we obviously have two sides of the coin. See, that's when anybody gets to talking about mundane type astrology issues or matters like financial astrology, and you're thinking about personal astrology, just instantly throw in that with personal astrology, we have choices. So a lot of people might say, well, with the Sun applying to Saturn, getting ready to conjoin it here on the 16th, that some negative type things or delay type things or karmic type things might show up in our life. And they might. Now, I'll tell you, this is my personal experience, and I'm pretty strong on this, that like if you can get on the right sides of these aspects, that when we need the club, God, the universe, the chart, whatever it is, has some pretty effective tools to get our attention. But when we don't need the club, in other words, when we are living our spiritual path, when we are living into our own truth, not somebody else's truth, your truth for you, when you are growing, when you are discovering the purpose and the reason that you came here, and working on those areas as they come up, gladly, methodically, cooperatively, working with the energies, I truly don't feel that Saturn is that big of a club. And when a lot of these ancient astrology books were written, and even the ones back from the late or the 1800s and the early 1900s, that genre of book still didn't have that level of consciousness that if we just got on the favorable sides of these planets, well, then what does Saturn represent then? It represents your legacy, that which will outlast you, taking what you have learned in some kind of way, perhaps delivering it so that future generations might be able to benefit from your lessons. It represents playing the long game, not the short game, the fast, quick game. It's taking your time to do it well. It's not giving up in the middle of a project, seeing it through to the end. These are the positive sides of Saturn. Now, what in there is anything to fear? I love those characteristics, but this goes with the theme that we were talking about Friday and yesterday. Don't rush things right now. Don't jump ahead of this aspect, because if we think about it, the Sun, us, we, and this amazing season of Aquarius that we are in, and the fact that Saturn happens to be in Aquarius right now, one of the things about Saturn that it really doesn't tolerate is impatience. Now, you could say, but isn't Mars moving into a trine with Saturn? Yeah, leave the impatience to deal with that. They can work it out. But don't rush things right now. Take it slow. Cross your T's, dot your I's. As we say on the Subconscious Mind Mastery podcast at the end of almost every episode, enjoy the journey. This chart right now is a whole lot more about the process than the destination. Don't sweat the small stuff. Keep your eye on the bigger picture. I think you get the idea. And if you're listening as a couple or have somebody in your life who is your partner in your journey, it would really be great to support each other in this. Tap the brakes, smell the flowers, appreciate your partner for who they are in your life, not for what they're not. And when you say your prayers before you go to bed at night, wink up at Saturn and say, by golly, as best I can, I'm trying. I'm trying. I wish you a wonderful Tuesday. See you back tomorrow.